Here's a story that I think should start a serious conversation. The Pentagon allegedly wasted or has room to cut $125 billion in waste. This, according to the Washington Post. The Pentagon has buried an internal study that exposed $125 billion in administrative waste in its business operations amid fears Congress would use the findings as an excuse to slash the defense budget, according to interviews and confidential memos obtained by the Washington Post. It's a total of $125 billion over 5 years that they feel could be saved if they cut, if they force some retirements, if they trim some of their contractors. I believe they said they had over 1 million contractors. The average salary of the contractors is $190,000 a year plus benefits. And they were concerned. It was a 77-page report commissioned in order to find ways for them to save. One of the things I saw the most interesting, and this is not from the article, this is just from previous readings, is that there's so much redundancy in the Pentagon. For each individual branch, right? So you have a full HR department for the Navy and a full HR department for the Marines and for the Air Force and for the Army. You have all of these redundancies and potential places for synergy and potential places for savings. This is not a part of the report, but I'm quite sure of that $125 billion. This is not part of the article, rather, but I'm quite sure the $125 billion that they could save over the next 5 years could be found. A lot of it could be found right there in all of the redundancies that they have, particularly in the HR department. But the story behind the story is that this report was originally on their website, taken down, and the suspicion is that this is because leaders at the Pentagon did not want Congress to see this and to cut their budget over the next 5 years. Here's the thing. You have competing forces coming in. You have the military industrial complex that is what it is, that wants this spending, that wants to keep it exact. Matter of fact, they want to expand it. Then you do have Donald Trump, who's come in saying that he's going to cut waste and he's going to cut, useless spending, waste. The competing forces, really, I think the establishment is going to win on this, right? You're not going to see a reduction in cost that will come from the Republican or Democratic establishment, not for the military. If there's anything that they agree on that we're going to spend money on our military. I mean, $125 billion, that's more than 2 times of what Russia spends on their military, on their defense. I mean, you can't minimize the amount of waste that $125 actually represents. And yet you can count on the Republicans and Democrats co-signing this. So hiding this from Congress, I feel, was like not the smartest move because they own Congress. Let's just be sure. They own Congress. The lobbyists for the defense industry, they own Congress. I mean, most of what's built, let's talk about the weapons and the machines that are built. I mean, it's spread across the country intentionally so that a small component is made in a little known district in DC, in Ohio, and a small component is made in the northeast of Florida, right? They spread it out so that every single congressman and congresswoman has a vested interest in protecting the military industrial complex. So it makes no sense to me for them to try to hide this because they own Congress. The people they should have hid this from, or maybe this is who they were actually trying to hide it from, the American people. Because the American people see $125 billion worth of waste from one bureaucracy that most of us can agree is over bloated. The American people see this and start making demands, right? That's who they should have hid this from. And quite possibly that's maybe who they were trying to hide it from. But the point is this, is that when the American people start adding up and just doing the basic math and see that we waste more than Russia spends, right? We waste more than the boogeyman spends on their entire defense department. when Americans start seeing that, and they start seeing our crumbling infrastructure, the fact that Obamacare is falling apart and is going to fall apart even quicker as soon as Republicans get in, the fact that there's still millions of Americans who are uninsured or underinsured, the fact that you still have people who are food insecure, Americans will look at this amount and start demanding that we have accountability on a level that we don't currently have it, so that money can be reallocated. The truth of the matter is, good luck. It's probably not going to happen. Congress is going to sit on this. Congress is going to let this amount of money just go to waste because they're more comfortable seeing it go to wasteful spending than they would ever be comfortable seeing it go to something meaningful like infrastructure, like reduction of poverty, for food security, or anything, any number of things that we could do with this money. It won't be done. So I don't understand the entire article. I don't understand the entire premise of them being afraid of Congress, when Congress is going to do exactly what they want. They're going to keep spending at the levels that they're spending, no matter how wasteful it is, and no matter how other parts of the American economy and the American infrastructure could benefit from $125 billion. And that's just over 5 years. And that's just based on a report, an internal report from the Pentagon. I mean, imagine the wasteful spending that's going on everywhere else.